My name is Seraphina the Masked Lady. I was once human. Since then, I have lived many lives. I have been loved and reviled, adored and despised, been the child of a poor prostitute and a courtesan revered by thousands. When I was a child, a stranger with no face offered me the ability to move between the worlds. Since then, my every death has led to a new life. I once had a true love. He was ripped away from me when I was murdered in the 18th century. I search for him still. In the meantime, I walk in the shadows behind the universe, visiting realms both exquisite and terrible and bringing back stories and rhymes to amaze the mind and enchant the ear. Through my YouTube channel, I send the stories out into the world, hoping that my true love will hear them and reply. Hoping, if he does not, that I will find in the other souls who listen kindred spirits to help ease the pain. What of you, stranger? Did you come here tonight seeking a mystery? Do you hunger for a spark of excitement, for the dark thrill of fear? Will you listen as my tales unfold, knowing that some may very well take on lives of their own? Consider, stranger, whether you have the courage to walk between the worlds with Seraphina the Masked Lady. Hello, my delicious December darlings. How are you this evening? I hope that your week has been a winter wonderland. You may have noticed that my voice sounds different today. Please don't be offended. There is a good reason for the change. Because of my long years in the world, I have made many friends. Sadly, I have also accumulated a few dangerous enemies. For that reason, I rely on narrators to voice my videos. My previous videos on this channel were narrated by the beautiful Charlotte Cole. I loved working with Charlotte, and I remain in awe of her hard work and commitment. However, due to family obligations, Charlotte has returned to her family's lands in Scotland, so I have welcomed a new member to the Seraphina the Masked Lady team. From now on, my videos will be narrated by the lovely Antoinette. Antoinette is a performer and professional voice actor, and I have no doubt that she will do an amazing job. I hope we will soon be comfortable and happy together. So, now you know why I sound odd. Let's move on with the episode. What have you all been doing for fun this week? I have been working on my crafting. Over the centuries, I have come to enjoy working with my hands. Every year, I pick a new craft and create unique gifts for the people who make my life sparkle. This year's craft involves sewing. Honestly, I probably should have started earlier, but I am still very much enjoying the process. I have also been voyaging for new stories. I struck a gold mine somewhere outside the fourth dimension. Today, I have 3 poetic tales to enliven the winter evening. The first poem may be an issue for arachnophobes, but bear with me. The magic that follows is worth it. The Christmas Spider. Our clothes had holes. We had no food. The frost was on the ground. All through the rooms of our poor house, tears were the only sound. 1 year ago, our pa had died and left us without help. And our ma, at just 25, struggled all by herself. We'd all of us tried to pitch in, but there was just no way. A girl and babes could run a farm, so ma went out for pay and left us 7, 4, and 2 in the cold house alone. I tried to cheer the babies up. They cried because she'd flown, and they were hungry, bored, and chilled. And then, worse news than all, arrived on our doormat in answer to the postman's call. The bank had heard about our pa, and they had called his loan. If our ma, tired as she was, could not pay it alone, we'd lose the farm, the land, our house, and all that we possessed. Ma sold our clothes, our furniture, and toys among the rest, and still only just made enough the bank to satisfy. By the time December came around, the house was bare inside. We children slept in a blanket with Ma down on the floor, while little May asked, "Didn't we have beds to sleep before?" We went to school in stocking feet and sat hungry all day, before walking home to a house empty of joy and play. The first Sunday that the church bells pealed out for Advent days, Ma sat us down and tried to smile, but tears were in her gaze. She said, "I want you all to know how much I love you, dears. Nobody could be more proud of what you have done this year. You deserve every wondrous gift that Christmas time can bring. But I have heard from Santa, and he can't bring anything. The little ones started to cry, but I tried to be brave. I knew that Ma and Santa both had for Christmas to save. I'd heard the teachers at school say crops were bad as a whole. So I guess times were just as lean up at the far North Pole. So I hugged the little ones tight and told them not to fret. With songs and stories told, we'd have the best Christmas yet. At last, the babies laughed, and Ma smiled and hugged us tightly. My heart glowed like banked coals when she said she was proud of me. So, for a few days, we were married till young May asked me, on December 22nd, where is our Christmas tree? I know Santa can't buy us gifts. I guess that is okay. But we can't be without a tree on a bright Christmas day. I looked up, and I saw that Ma was there. She had heard me. She dashed her eyes, set her chin, and said, I'll get you your tree. Then she put on the one brown coat no one wanted to buy, and told me to watch over the bairns so they would not cry. 2 long hours later from outside, I heard her calling me. She was weary. Her hands were torn, but she had got a tree. It wasn't big, but it was great. I helped her bring it in. And the looks on the kids' faces. You should have seen them grin. We found a pot, dug up some earth, and set the tree in it. We pranced to see it, jigged and danced. It was a complete hit. Ma smiled too, but she murmured, it would be quite a sight. If only I hadn't had to sell the baubles and lights. I feigned as if I hadn't heard. Let the kids be happy. Not worrying about a lack. We had a Christmas tree. Still, when Christmas Eve came around, I felt a gentle pang. I tried to take my comfort from the words we spoke and sang. I could live without bright parcels beneath the Christmas tree. But seeing our decorations shine meant so much to me. Ma had tried hard. She'd put aside bread and a little cheese. She said we could have it toasted or plain just as we pleased. Then she told stories of Saint Nick upon his magic sledge. At last, with full bellies and with happy heads, we went to bed. It was while we were sleeping sound that the magic occurred. A tiny spider, black and brown, had hidden from a bird inside the branches of our tree, and by some Christmas grace, throughout the night, she twirled and spun, draping the tree in lace. So, when we woke, blinking and chilled in the first light of dawn, to hear a tapping at the front door, it was a lost fawn. We saw that the rising sun had set the pale webs alight. Nothing before or since had been as gorgeous as that sight. As I watched it glow, I prayed to God above he should please, if ever I reached heaven, fill it up with just such trees. The miracles did not stop there, for on our porch we found boxes of food, blankets, and even pillows on the ground. Who'd brought them there? We could not tell, but we hurried them in. And as the food cooked on the fire, our Christmas did begin. Next year, my mother got a job that paid much more money. By next December, we had sweets and candles on our tree. But never will I forget that a small spider did spin, a blaze of light, beauty, and joy to welcome Christmas in. The Lady and the Angel. There was a girl whose every footstep hurt her. She moved and rose and slept in agony. The doctor said she'd been born with the sickness, and that from it she never would be free. So she found ways to snatch joy from the teeth of the scourging pain that sought to bring her down. At Christmas time each year, her smile was brightest. Not even cruel words could make her frown. Still, the girl dreamed of one night or one moment when she could dance and her fleet feet could fly, as swift as a star streaming across the heavens, as free as white doves in the Yuletide sky. One Christmas day, she rose, her cold limbs shaking, but smiled as she lit her Christmas tree. Someone spoke behind her. "I've a gift for you." The woman turned and said, "A gift for me." Before, she thought that she should fear or wonder who had spoken first. She lived all alone. She looked and saw an angel pure as daylight, as perfect as a statue carved from stone. He said, "I've heard you thinking, wishing, praying for the one thing that you want above all. Alas, I cannot heal your hurt forever, but your Father above has made the call, that you for at least one dear glowing morning shall have a slender part of what you need. Take my hand, and I promise I will lift you on high with me. Your soul will now be freed from your body, but only for a short while. I have not come to carry you away into the world beyond. That happy morning has been assigned for a far distant day. You will see Christmas Day in all its glory when you walk out in state abroad with me, like Scrooge did with the ghost of Christmas present. Except, I hope you'll do it happily. The girl reached out and took his large hand gladly, and in an instant, the two were walking up to a grand cathedral in a city, where choirs gladly hailed the risen king. They sat together, and the pair sang with them. The angel's voice was so lovely and fair that some of the worshippers turned towards them, squinting, though they could not see they were there. Next, they sat down on a large ice skating rink, boxed in by glass and glimmering in lights. The angel led the girl out onto the ice, although, at first, the girl struggled in fright. Before too long, she was flying and whirling, without a twinge upon the shining rink. She spun until the stars gave birth around her, till she could only smile and laugh, not think, but twirled, and when she fell, the angel caught her. He held her close in his broad arms, smiling, then flew her to a farm up in the highlands. There, reindeer walked on gentle velvet feet. The young reindeer came to the girl and nudged her. She held them and kissed them. "You are so sweet," she called aloud. The angel smiled at her. He was so glad to see the girl happy. The girl cuddled the angel close and whispered, "Thank you. This means so very much to me." The angel squeezed her hand, and then he told her, "I don't know if I can take you back home. You are so bright now, beautiful and vibrant. But if I take you back, then you will groan in pain again. You'll wince and limp and linger. How could our God have chosen that for you? I love God, and I trust Him, but it hurts me to see the pain that living puts you through." The girl laughed at the dear angel and kissed him. "Don't you see that the antidote is life? I may not get to fly jets or climb mountains, but I can love my brother and his wife. I get to see my nieces strong and thriving. I get to love my neighbors around me. I get to see the bright morning sun shining. All of those things are gifts enough for me. They help carry me through the pain and aching. Please don't worry. The gift you've given me is something that my whole life I have dreamed of. You've let me live as if my poor body was no longer a heavy weight on my soul. I will remember that kindness always. But now I must go home, and you go onward, to bless others and light their Christmas days. You are so brave," the angel said. "I always swore that I would not understand what it was that caused some of my brothers to lose their hearts to the fair daughters of man. But now I think that I can comprehend it. I will not break the laws that rule my kind, so far as to snatch you far from your loved ones. But if you will, I would take it as kind. If in 50 long years, maybe 100, I tried to find you out when with good men, you come at last to join our God in heaven, I would count it as an honor if then I could be your guide to the shining region, where all the joys of love and heaven grow." "Of course, you may," the girl replied. The angel smiled so broadly that his face seemed to glow. The girl kissed his soft cheek and told him, "But now take me on back to home and family. After all, today is Christmas Day, and I have mother and father waiting on me." And so the angel did, in a blink back home. The girl greeted a Merry Christmas Day, but now, at night, she dreams of her bright angel, who'll meet her at home in heaven to stay. The Fox Cub in the Manger. There is a fox cub lying in the manger. Marilee's siblings don't know why it's there. It hadn't been there when they'd entered the church, so Mother could say a Christmas Eve prayer. They'd stopped to see the manger by the altar, to look upon the Holy Family, to see the shining face of Lady Mary, and scratch the ears of the humble donkey. Jesus was there, too, smiling in the manger, His chubby fingers stretched towards the sky. The soft hay, sweet and fresh, was all around him. But there had been no fox cub standing by. They'd joined Mother in the pews when she called them, and knelt silk cushions supporting their knees, and looked into the face of the grown Jesus, patient and loving in his agony, and said prayers for a safe and happy Christmas, for theirs and every other family. Their mother had whispered one more heartfelt prayer, that God above would watch over Daddy until he finished the job he was working in a large, busy township far away. She breathed a wish that maybe by next Christmas, he would be kneeling beside them to pray. That done, they'd stood and gone back to the stable to lay a kiss upon the Christ baby. Merrily had been bending down to see him, and noticed the fox there bold as could be. Now Merrily is looking, breathing softly, while the fox's ruby-red form hugs Christ, and Mother scouts around to find the good priest, to move that thing before it sheds its lice. But Merrily smiles at the nature baby, its paws pressed against Christ's belly softly, and thinks the cub will freeze if it is cast out into the night, where snow drifts lazily. So, squeezing up her eyes, she sends a request. Send an angel to protect the poor cub. Don't let the priest just throw its young life away. I understand that Mother has told us we won't have any gifts come Christmas this year, but if you send someone to save the fox, I will not ask for gifts ever again. I do not mean to insult the Father God, but the priest is far from the kindest of men. He might not take pity on the baby. I can't take him home. Mother will not let me. Father in heaven, save the fox for me. By the time she's stopped praying, the priest is there, exclaiming at the fox cub in dismay, and saying he must call some parishioners to carry the wee mongrel far away. Merrily's heart sinks, but ere she can say more, a man dressed in a fine suit comes walking along the aisle from just outside the church door. Everyone turns to watch the man coming. He doesn't look tired, chilled, hungry, or weary. Unlike the rest of the small company, he says to the priest, I will solve your problem if you will give the young fox cub to me, but not right now. The last service is over. Let him stay where he is till morning comes. I'll collect him before morning mass begins and find a new place he can call his home. The priest looks like he is inclined to argue, but after a moment, he nods his head, then hurries back and into the sacristy. When he is gone, the stranger softly says to Merrily, God heard your prayer and answered, but do not worry, God is not asking a price for his help. A gentle heart like yours is a gift in itself to heaven's king. And then the man, a smile curling his lips, bends down and kisses Merrily's forehead. He vanishes before Mother comes to her and tells Merrily it is time for bed. Merrily follows her with one final glance towards the crib and the sleeping babies. That night, little Merrily goes up to bed, and in no time into deep sleep, she flees and dreams of the fox happy, warm, and thriving. When she wakens, smiling, on Christmas Day, the whole world seems to glow with a new wonder, and that feeling will never fade away. Okay, that's it for our second December episode. I hope you enjoyed the poems and they added a little magic to your evening. I'm off to sew stockings for some friends of mine. I can't wait to see their faces when they open them. Have a warm, safe night and a wonderful day tomorrow. Good night.